Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
If the United States can conduct an operation in Venezuela to capture Nicolas Maduro, an elected president, and put him on trial in American courts, then why is it impossible to capture Benjamin Netanyahu from Israel and bring him before international court? If the United States can conduct an operation in Venezuela to capture Nicolas Maduro, an elected president, and put him on trial in American courts, then why is it impossible to capture Benjamin Netanyahu from Israel and bring him before international court? If the United States can...
Placing the leaders of a country that went into battle to protect its civilians in the same line with bloodthirsty terrorists is moral blindness.
Does my right honourable friend agree that this is a grotesque overreach by the ICC?
A Supreme Court which is respected internationally and which the ICC is supposed to respect, and yet there are people in here who from day one have done very little to call out some of the other behaviour and everything to hold Israel to a standard they do not hold others to. That is why the Czech Prime Minister and the...
Can you...
Please, can everybody focus on a question?
Chair of the Select Committee, Alicia Kearns.
Speaker, my condolences go out to all the families who've received the most devastating news over the last few days that their loved ones have been murdered, and also to the Popplewell family who have received heinous treatment from Hamas with the publication of that outrageous video. Last week, the committee pushed the Minister for the Middle East to do more to get proof of life for those who've been held hostage, and that remains the call from our committee. Can I welcome the effort on the maritime ports? It is good that that is now in place. However, it will be unable to function come September due to the changes in the tide that will then come in. So this is a short-term solution. Since the 6th of May, when the Rafah offensive started, there have been only 40 trucks that have gone in through the Kerem-Sharon crossing. In Rafah, no fuel has gone in, no medical evacuations have taken place as aid agencies have started to suspend sending in their own people. And that is extremely concerning. So my question is, when will the Rafah crossing reopen? And will the Erez West crossing finally accept aid not just through Jordan, but also through Ramallah? Because otherwise the amount of aid needed is just not going to get in.
Well, I thank the chair of the Select Committee for her remarks. She made the point, I think, before about proof of life, and as she knows, this is something which my noble friend Lord Ahmed has been pursuing in direct response, I think, to her committee. She makes the very good point, Mr. Speaker, that the maritime option will only go on for as long as the sea conditions are satisfactory. And that emphasises the importance of getting aid in by road, one of Britain's specific demands of the Israeli government. And she points out that Rafah has effectively been closed for the last few weeks. And the great difficulties that causes, and we hope very much that there will soon be a deal between Egypt and Israel to put that right.
We come to SNP spokesperson Brendan O'Hara.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We go down a dangerous road, Minister, if we believe that the rule of law is something from which a government can pick and choose. So unlike the government, we very much welcome the decision of the International Criminal Court to issue arrest warrants for the Hamas leaders Sinwar, al-Masari and Haniyeh for crimes against humanity and war crimes committed on and subsequent to October the 7th. We have always unreservedly condemned the appalling Hamas attacks, their murders and their hostage taking, and we repeat our calls for the immediate release of the hostages. Given the ferociously disproportionate Israeli response, one which has seen 35,000 dead, 100,000 injured, tens of thousands of children orphaned, a civilian infrastructure in ruins, the cutting off of food, water, electricity and medical supplies, we also welcome the ICC filing applications for the arrest warrants of both the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the Minister of Defence Yoav Gallant for war crimes and crimes against humanity. The ICC say they have evidence, including interviews with survivors and eyewitnesses, which show that Israel has intentionally and systematically deprived the civilian population of Gaza with what they need to survive. And they refer specifically to Israel using starvation as a weapon of war and intentionally directing attacks against the civilian population, all acts which constitute a crime against humanity. The ICC has confirmed everything that we have said about the crimes of October the 7th and Israel's use of a collective punishment and ethnic cleansing in response to those crimes. For 8 months, this government has told us that it cannot make an assessment on breaches of international humanitarian law, but it has today, because it suits them, made an immediate assessment on the decision of the International Criminal Court, whose panel of experts is predominantly made up of UK lawyers, and they've done so simply because it doesn't agree with it.
First and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS who I learned from. Shalom to the offer elect, preaching his word in truth, sincerity, to you ribs, and to you sisters out there learning in silence and staying in order. I say to you all, Shalom. Alright, man, so you saw in that video, Britain, you know, speaking on Prime Minister not a J-O-O-S, Slovakia, you know, I can't say that word, you know, for strike reasons, but the king of the land of milk and honey, as it pertains to right now, with that whole Middle East conflict, right? The king over there, the people, the Edomites of the UK, want him to be, you know, taken out by the same laws that protect him, right? And this is why this is a deceiver, man, a devil, because he speaks with a forked tongue, right? He's double-minded, right? And the scriptures talk about double-minded men are unstable in all their ways, man. This is the wicked of the earth, man. And the kingdom is being divided right now, right? When Obadiah 1 talks about the ones that are confederate with the laid a wound. I'm probably gonna get that so I don't butcher it, but right, these are the people that are in confederate with them, right? They right now in the conflicts with the U.S., who is ran by not a Jew, over Greenland, right? So this further more divides that house, right? And you see it happening, man. You know, NATO is pretty powerful right now, you know, in the eyes of the people, and they see it, so they want to split it up and become their own powers, right? Everybody wants to wear that #1 crown. Esau's like that, man. He's all about, you know, conquering and being #1, being head, you know, and this is why there's a lot of infighting, right? No different than in Maccabees chapter 1, when Alexander the Great parted his crowns, and then great evils were multiplied, right? This is no different. But this is this is Psalms of David. You know, he's speaking about the wicked, right? And this also pertains to, you know, this fits right in with Esau, man, the wicked, right? This is Psalms 109 and 10. Let his children be continually vagabonds, and beg, and let them seek their bread also out of their own desolate places, right? Right, in Malachi chapter 1, it says we are, matter of fact, I'm gonna get it. This is Malachi chapter 1, and I'm gonna start at verse 2. I have loved you, said Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother? Said Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai. Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, right? This is the Edomites that we're speaking of, the wicked of the earth, pertaining to, you know, Job chapter 9:24. It talks about the earth was given unto the hand of the wicked, right? The Lord had given the power unto Esau, Edom, right? It says, and I hated Esau, and laid his mountains in his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness, right? This is what King David prayed for, right? That they be continual vagabonds. Whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus say Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai have indignation forever. Right? Back to verse 10. Let his children, Psalms 109 and 10, let his children be continually vagabonds, and beg, and let them seek their bread also out of their desolate places. Let the extortioner catch all that he has, and let the stranger spoil his labor. Right? So the prayer is for the curses to be reversed onto Esau, Edom, in which that will be a thing. Right? It will be, these curses will be on the heathen. Right? This is part of the gospel, right? When you read in Isaiah 61, right, towards the bottom half, it says the stranger shall build. Right? They're gonna be our vine dressers. Right? It says, and let there be none to extend mercy upon him, neither let there be any to favor his fatherless children. Right? And this goes directly with Isaiah 14. This is Isaiah 14 and 4, that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, right, which is here in America, and say, how has the oppressor ceased, the golden city ceased? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai has broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. Right? He's going to remove the rulership of this place. Right? He says, he who smote the people in wrath with continual stroke. Right? Because we know the Amalekites run Babylon. Right? And they're the head tribe of Edom. And they're infighting right now. Right? He said, he that ruleth the nations in anger and persecuted, and none hindereth. Right? Nobody stopped it. Nobody helped in. Right? They're going to come to an end. Right? And when that does happen, the whole earth will be at peace finally. Right? Verse 7, the whole earth is at rest, and it is quiet. They break forth into singing. Right? Yeah, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedar and the Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no fellow is come up against us. Right? Because nations are symbolically trees, and a feller is someone who, who's a lumberjack. And funny enough, I brought this out in another video where, one of the strategies for over there, I can't say the Little Hats area, the land of milk and honey, what they did with Hamas was something called mowing the lawn, where they let them pull up in an area, they'll bomb them, they'll kill them, they'll retreat, let them pull up again, do it again. It's mowing the lawn. The grass grows, they mow it. Grass grows, mow it. These are the fellers, right? Now when we go down to verse 22, for I will rise up against them, said Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name, the remnant, the son, the nephew, said Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. I will also make it a possession for the bitter and the pools of water, and I will sweep it with the besom of destruction, said Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Right? Because this place got to be utterly destroyed, man, for all the atrocities and crimes, right, that not a Jew is associated with and tied to. Right? This land cannot be cleansed but the blood of him that sheddeth. This is Psalms 109 and 12. Let there be none to extend mercy unto him, neither let there be any to favor his fatherless children. Let his posterity be cut off, and in the generations following let their name be blotted out. Right? Because eventually they're going to be nothing but a faint memory, like a fainting dream. Verse 16, because that he remembered not to show mercy, but persecuted the poor and needy man, that he might even slay the broken in heart. Right? And the things they did to the children over there by starving them is just like man, it was wild. Because we might even have some Jake involved, in that starvation over there. Because our people are scattered throughout the whole earth, man. We might have still sprinkled Jake out there. You know, and Esau is gonna have to pay for all that. You know what I mean? So I think that's pretty cool that, you know, that Edom is in-house fighting, right? Because they've been watching us in-house fight for a long time, where they had separated neighborhoods and, you know, got rid of the Black Panthers and created gangs and territories and things of that nature to watch us infight. It's time they start infighting. This is Obadiah 1 and verse 7. And all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at ease with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Right there, right now, they are all sharing, you know, the oils and the spoils that they got from other lands, man. And eventually, it's going to be an in-house fighting over that, right? Because the Esau, Edom, gets everything by the sword. That's what he was blessed with. So everything he gets is by the sword. The scriptures say that he who lives by the sword shall die by the sword, right? When he told Peter, when he cut off the ear, right? So verse 5 says, if thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes, right? This is the type of people we're dealing with, man. They get resources by means of death and extortion, lies, deceit, and murder. But anyways, man, I pray this lesson was edifying. I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Rakah HaKodash, double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS who I learned from. Shalom to those for elect, preaching his word of truth, sincerity, to you ribs, to you sisters out there learning in silence and staying in order. I say to you all, Shalom.